Not one, not two, but three Yeezys in one video for you guys today. And sometimes there comes a time when I just sort of lump a bunch of sneakers together. Sometimes they're in a pack, like 6 sneakers in a city pack, and just do a review of the entire pack. And sometimes it's like this, where you've got sneakers coming one after the other. One of these guys on the 12th, one on the 18th, and one on the 24th, I think. So less than 2 weeks apart, 3 Yeezys dropping, and they're all linked by some blue in there that gives you a sort of sense that there's something going on with them trying to get a certain kind of feel for the whole line, for the whole brand coming out at the same time. Maybe it's a spring feel that they're going for, and this blue sort of aqua kind of feel for that. Earthy tones have been put aside and we're into sort of watery tones now, and that's all coming out on these 3 shoes one after the other. So what we're doing today is we're going to be trying to take a look at each of those shoes and looking at the similarities between them, and also the places that are different on the upcoming releases of the Adidas Yeezy 500 Enflame, 500 High Frosted Blue, and 700 Bright Blue. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てくださいね。Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, what we're looking at is the upcoming release of 3 Yeezys that are dropping in the space of 2 weeks. So the first of them is like April the 12th. Now this video is probably going to go up on something like April the 6th or the 7th, which is very close to that drop date. And I don't usually do that. Usually what I prefer to be is like 2 weeks ahead of the drop date. People check out the videos and they can decide if they want to get into the shoe or not based on the facts and the information and the different sort of angles and the branding on the shoes, which hopefully I help them make that decision on. But when it's only 2 or 3 days before the drop date, that's kind of close. But the other 2 are a bit further away, 10 days and 2 weeks. So from that point of view, I'm happy to do this video. Also, I'm happy to do this video about Yeezys because, and I've titled this one Kanye's Blue, and it's kind of a play on words because it could be Kanye is blue, or it could be like Kanye's blue things, and both work because these are Kanye's sneakers and they are blue, so they're Kanye's blue sneakers. But also Kanye is blue. Things haven't been so great for Kanye West in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, like that, and it feels like the Yeezy line is sagging. That's the word for it. This feels like it's sagging, and there's just no inertia about it. There used to be inertia, one drop after the other, bang, bang, bang. The previous drop would give the next drop its hype without really having to do anything. But now it just feels really labored and really slow, like walking in treacle or something like that. And that's just my perspective. I'm in Japan, very much not the center of the sneaker world, although the sneaker industry and the sneaker culture here is definitely booming and heading for a big wave coming in the next 12 to 18 months. But still, when it comes to knowing the pulse of the sneaker world, especially with the Yeezys, you want to be in North America. And maybe people in North America have a different perspective from me, and they'll be able to tell us in the comments down below, no, the line's just having a rest, it's in hiatus, or it's just part of the natural feel for the line over the a 12-month period. It just goes into a lull like this every once in a while. Or the Yeezys, they've kind of lost their vibe, they've lost their push. So one of those, let us know in the comments down below where you are, and also what it's like for Yeezys where you are. If you're in Europe, how's the Yeezy push there? How's the Yeezy hype? I'm out here in Japan, and the Yeezy hype has definitely come off, but that might just be us around here. So North Americans, Europeans, anywhere in the world, let us know what you feel about the Yeezy line and whether or not Kanye's blue or not. And with that being said, let's get into these shoes. So what I said was I want to look at all 3 of them so we can look at the commonalities between the 3, and hopefully the thumbnail behind me here is giving you a sense. I tried to sort of cram a 500 high, a 500 low, and a 700 V1 into one sort of thumbnail, and I think I did a fairly good job. But the point is looking for those commonalities between the 3 sneakers. So there's one commonality between all 3, and then there's a commonality between the 500 lows and the 700s and the 500 lows and the 500 highs. So let's get into all of that. Now basically that common theme, as you already know probably, is that blue in there. So when it comes to the highs, which we're calling the frosted blue, a great name for it, the base under it, the sort of panels, the lowest level of the upper is in that blue, but you've also got an additional blue coming on top of that, slightly different in the suede hits on the overlays also in blue, and it's the only shoe of the three that has a double blue hit like that, but it's the blue that runs through all three shoes. So if we flip that out for the 500 lows, which are the Enflames, you can see that the overlays are in blue on this 500 low, same as on the highs on those frosted blues, but on the low version the panels are actually in brown, so they're not kind of similar to the high version, but you've still got that blue feature going on. And then when we come to the 700s, you've got the blue right across the top half of the shoe. Now the 700s are kind of interesting for two particular reasons. One is the Wave Runners, so we'll bring up the Wave Runners, which were the first and considered by many an absolute jewel in the Yeezy 700 line, and this is a V1, and you can see the V1 sort of thing. I usually point to the mid-foot area where there's no branding really on the V1s, and if we find a V2, and I'll show you here, you'll see there's kind of horizontal lines in that same mid-foot panel area there, and these both V1s and V2s, so V1 we're looking at today and V2s also, they come with a midsole in Boost technology, so you'll see them called the Yeezy Boost 700, but then there was a 700 V3s which did away with the Boost materials. So of the three shoes today, the 700s are V1s or version 1s, and they do keep that Boost midsole on there, whereas the 500 highs and the 500 lows, 500s have never been a Boost shoe. They've always used a different Adidas technology called Adiprene to get their stability as well as their comfort down low, which both do happen very well with the 500s and the big chunky midsole and outsole units. So don't be mistaken and think just because it says Yeezy on it that it's a Boost. The Boost only comes in on the 700s, and even then it's the V1s and the V2s and not the most recent iteration, the V3s. And speaking of the lower half of the shoes, the outsoles is that sort of second join that you get between the two. So let's bring up the high outsole, and you'll see here it's that big kind of chunky oversized outsole, but it's all in a cream tan that runs through the whole shoe. And then if we jump from that kind of cream base across to the 500 Enflame, you can see that the bottom half of the shoe has a kind of tan cream feel to it, so there's a slight connection there. But when you flip these guys upside down and have a look at the outsole, it's very much an orange front to back Adiprene outsole, very similar to the 500 highs in construction, but in the case of these guys it's orange. And then you flip that over to the 700s outsole, and this is probably my favorite feature of the three shoes, not just the design, which has always been great on the classic OG V1 silhouette, and this is standard OG V1 silhouette materials on this outsole right here, with those kind of lines that run in from either side to kind of circular windows that look through to that Boost midsole that we were talking about. But what I like about it is it's a black outsole and the white Boost, but between the two of them you've got an orange border, and it's that orange border that kind of links back to the orange outsole on the 500 Enflame. So that's kind of a slight connection between the two shoes, or the three shoes, let's say, is the outsoles and what's going on there. It's with the 500 highs and the 500 lows, the tan feel in there, and then the 500 lows and across the 700s, the orange feel in there as well. So that's the main kind of connections between the shoes, and that feel, it does feel like they're going for a sort of a line-wide push into the aqua materials. The Yeezys have always been famous for their earth tones, their browns and their greys and their tans, and that kind of feel to them. But they're moving into this kind of blue, much more powerful, stronger feeling. And maybe it's to do with the elements. There's earth, wind, fire, and water, right? So maybe we've moved off of earth and now we're moving into water. But still, bottom line, I still feel like the Yeezy line is kind of just in a really sort of slow, plodding kind of place right now. And I don't know if these kind of shoes are going to bring it forward. I don't know if there's enough in these releases for people to get that hype back and get that interest back in them. Of the three, personally, I actually like the 500 highs the best. Never been a huge fan of these oversized shoes that we've had for the last 24 36 months, but the highs, the boot of these guys, is the one that I could see myself rocking, and I think it's actually a very cool looking shoe, and it's not too overdone as well. If you look at the other two shoes, there's a lot going on them, but the highs are actually quite a simple shoe and a very nice looking shoe. One of the features that I like on those highs is also the lace lock that you get on the lacing system there. It's a kind of unique element in amongst all the Yeezys and the different silhouettes that you get from the Yeezy line. Okay, it's time for me to finish that one up. Hopefully, somewhere in all of that, you were able to look at these Yeezys and think, right, either, about the whole line and what's going on at the whole line, or if you're thinking, right, which ones am I interested in? Which ones am I wanting to look at? Hopefully, seeing them side by side like that gives you an appreciation for their differences and their similarities, and that will help you make a decision about which one to get your hands on. For now though, it's time for me just to wrap this one up and finish this video. I just want to say finally at the end of it all, just to thank you to anyone out there who's checking out the content. Truly appreciate it. I've got a few ideas, a few pokers in the fire that are going to take a couple of weeks to sort of see if they come to fruition, but if they do, it will mean sneakers in hand more often, which is something that I'm hoping will come out of this pandemic, will come out strong, fingers crossed. For now though, it's time for me just to wrap this up and say thank you guys for checking out the content, but the only thing that's left for me to do is to remind you that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.